I'd like to thank you for your time anywhere around the world or in Nigeria. Because 1 year ago, the Ministry of Livestock Development was created by the hindsight, the insight and foresight of the President Tinubu administration, primarily to transform livestock production into a modern, efficient and productive sector that would compete favorably with the global markets. The youngest ministry has set a trajectory for takeoff with emphasis on promoting ranching, pasture cultivation for feed efficiency, improving animal health, business orientation and livestock infrastructure nationwide. Not only that, the ministry is striving to advance Nigeria's agriculture value chain by carrying small-scale livestock farmers and encouraging private sector participation for wealth creation. This is Reshaping Democracy. I'm Ayodeji Makinde. Yes, in the desire to improve productivity in animal production practiced by our forefathers many years ago, the minister at the helm of affairs in the Ministry of Livestock Development, Idi Mukhtar Meha, is making sure modern practices are imbibed. The minister is on Reshaping Democracy as citizens search for answers on how much progress has been made in actualizing his mandate in the last 1 year.
What are your initiatives to improve livestock farming in Nigeria being a new ministry, and how do you intend to ensure that this livestock farming reaches small-scale farmers at the lower level in Nigeria?
The livestock ministry is today recording 1 year in existence. It's its creation by His Excellency Mr. President Bola Ahmed Tinubu GCFR. And since our arrival on the scene, being the youngest ministry, we have been able to form our team. We've been able also to craft out a strategy to provide a trajectory for the ministry. We have identified the major challenges and the mitigants that we believe once these are addressed, the ministry will transform the livestock sector in the country. The ministry is about farmable animals. When we say about farmable animals, we are talking about the honeybee, the rabbit, the pig, the sheep, the goat, the donkey, the horse, the cattle, the camel, and everything around them in terms of feed and fodder, in terms of health, in terms of quarantine, in terms of setting the standards for operations, including dairy and beef. So everything along that gamut is what we talk about farmable animals. Now, talking about the transformation we are doing. Number one, what is the character or characterization of our own livestock today? They are all in the traditional holding. That is to say that our husbandry practices are still poor. They are not modernized. The breed we are dealing with, they are also indigenous. They have not been upgraded in terms of genetic, in terms of performance, in terms of productivity. So this is what we are looking at. They see room the countryside. There is no definite, defined, deliberately grown pasture for animals to go and graze. So that means that we are still doing what our great-great-great-parents did with livestock. So the ministry today, again, is also looking at the management of diseases and health of those animals. If you are doing poultry, do it the modern way, that where you can drive the full benefits. How do you do the modern way? Number one, we have to start from genetics. Are your genetics superior? What are you getting from them in terms of productivity? Let me give you an example. For instance, if you look at our indigenous pigs, what is the rate of farrowing? How many piglets do they give you for one birth? Are you getting the optimum from there? Probably here they give you 5 to 7 liters. Liter, I mean piglets. Our Dyspyrogenes will give you almost 20 piglets per birth, per farrowing. You have to look at the rate of growth. How many kilograms can they add in a day? And that means that they mature early. It also means that by the time they are slaughter age, they would have put up their maximum weight gain and you have a lot of carcass. Compare that with our indigenous pigs. This is what we are looking at. If you now move to cattle, you are talking about how many kilograms of milk are you getting from your mama cow, from the Nigerian mama cow. On the average today, we are getting 1.2, 1.5 to 2 liters per cow per day. Is that what their counterparts are giving elsewhere? By modernization, we mean here, we bring spirogenetics so that we leapfrog our indigenous mama cows from giving us 1 to 2 liters to 15, 20, 30 liters per day. This is what we mean by modernization. Part of the modernization process as well again is to deliberately and consciously cultivate pasture, grass meant to feed animals. You grow your own fodder rather than moving from point A to point B, scavenging the countryside and looking for fodder. So that is part of modernization. And in growing pasture, we are going to consciously aggressively address that by getting pasture seeds and training even small farmers to get into pasture cultivation. Even if you are not doing animals, you are not keeping livestock yourself, you can take pasture cultivation as a business. And no one says that you cannot do 2 hectares, you cannot do 3 hectares, you cannot do 50 or 100 or 2,000 hectares. No. You can do according to your own capacity. The whole idea today is to imbibe that culture, that business sense of doing so. Look, I will grow fodder for animals, for animal keepers to buy.
How are you going to leverage on technology to improve on the productivity of the livestock sector in Nigeria? And what arrangements are you making towards that?
Thank you. That question coming from University Don. I think he knows the answer. Technology here, what comes to mind? Once you're talking about productivity, it means 2 things. Number 1, you are talking about the application of technology. It could be on a small unit area, it could be on a wider area. But here again, technology, we are talking about genetics. Generally, 3 things make an agricultural livestock enterprise successful. 3 things. Number 1 is the genetics. Number 2 is the management. And number 3 is the marketing. For genetics, if you are an agronomist, you are dealing with agriculture cultivation, you need hybrid seeds, improved seeds. Early yielding, high yielding, early maturity, as well as resistant, adapted to our environment. Technology has to be in the driver's seat. If you are dealing with livestock, we have just finished talking about genetics. You have to come with spirogenetics. I gave the example of milk yield. From 2 liters, we can leapfrog our indigenous cattle when we cross them with spirogenetics to 15, 20, 30 liters per cow per day. And that is the role of genetics. Number 2, the role of genetics again is in pasture cultivation. Rather than getting grasses that are part of our natural biodiversity, whose nutritional value have not been confirmed, or has been confirmed to be poor, much poorer than the Digitaria, Brachiaria, the Marandu, the Mombasa grasses that we have around, the Napier grasses we have around. So you bring technology and make sure that, look, these grasses are superior in terms of biomass yield per hectare, in terms of rate of growth, per planting season, in terms of resistance to diseases, in terms of being also drought resistance, and in terms of yield per hectare. For instance, if you look at the hybrid, the Super Napier, you can get, if the land is irrigated, 350 tons per hectare per annum. That's what you are going to get. And it is huge. So that is the role of technology. Now again, if you come to real meat production, for instance, if you look at our meat breed, which of course we do not have, but also remember that there are 2 kinds of cattle in the world today. You either have the dairy line or the beef line. Of course, there's a third thin line that we call dual purpose. They can give you both milk, they can give you carcass weight of beef, etc. But they cannot give you as much milk as the pure dairy line. Now they can put on weight as much as the pure beef line. So if you are talking about beef today, in terms of technology application, you go for the spirogenetics. Again, if you are talking about breeding, if you apply technology, which this ministry today is going to start very soon, there are 3 breeding methods. One is the natural servicing, where you have bulls coming to run around the mama cows and service them. The second one is artificial insemination, where you get the semen and then get the in straws, and then you inseminate thousands of animals from one bull. The other one is what we call embryo transfer, and that is the high-end application of technology in animal breeding.
My name is Dr. Kabiru Ali. How is your ministry supporting ranching as the solution to curtail herders, farmers, clashes? And what strategy are you putting in place to ensure that ranching comes in to replace open grazing, which we are accustomed to?
Basically, more than 80% of the cattle resources today we have are in the hands of pastoralists. And they are moving the countryside looking for feed and fodder. How do we promote that? Number one, since our arrival on the scene, we have inventorized all the grazing reserves we have in the country. We have identified them. We know those that are gazetted. We know those that are not gazetted. We know their locations. We know their topography, and we know their suitability or otherwise in terms of receiving animals. As of today, the ministry is working with the subnational government, the state governments, to make sure that these grazing reserves have been rehabilitated. We have 417 of them across the country, totaling almost about 5 million hectares of land. And the intention of the ministry, and of course we have already launched this scheme. A model today was being launched at Wuse with the full support, political support and cooperation of the good government and governor of Plateau State. And Wuse was gazetted in around 1957 or thereabout. It's a very, very old grazing reserve. It's about 100,000 hectares of land. So we are going to start rehabilitating the grazing reserve so that it can receive pastoralists who can now establish communal ranches. How does a typical rehabilitated grazing reserve look like? We are going to have one, veterinary clinics. We'll have primary health care for their families. We will also build their capacity and provide them with grass seeds to plant pasture and grow pasture for their animals. Wase Grazing Reserve has 22 earth dams that will be rehabilitated, desilted, and be made ready to serve as a source of water for dry season cultivation of pasture. Now, we are also going to encourage private ranchers, and we have had a large number of them come here to make presentations to us. They are ready to go into animal ranching, and we are working with them. And very soon you start hearing about people establishing ranches all over the place. These are individuals who have now taken livestock as a business unit, not as traditional holding. They are not after just having thousands of cows. They are after quality holding, not quantity holding. By quality, they have animals that they can manage, whose productivity is very high. And therefore, there will be very good return on investment. This is what we are looking to. So it is happening, and it doesn't say that you have to have 2,000 hectares of land. No. Anybody who wants to establish a ranch, either for beef or for dairy, or small ruminants, or poultry, work with us. We can assist you. We can do the handholding. We can link you up with investment banks. We can also talk to the subnationals to assist in giving you land to develop your business. So that's what the ministry is doing.
Sir, how will you promote the development of poultry and aquaculture in Nigeria, and what support will you provide to entrepreneurs and small-scale farmers in this subsector?
Thank you, Obayomi. Thank you so much for that interesting question. Of all the species today in the livestock sector, of all value chains in the livestock sector today, we are happy to say that the poultry template is the most successful. It has succeeded to such a level that it don't even require government intervention. It is private sector driven, and it has succeeded. However, in the last few months, in the last few years, there have been some setbacks, principally from the cost of feeds. Cost of feeds, and that was the result of cost of grains. We are aware of that. We have met with the practicing feed millers of Nigeria. The association came here, we discussed. We've also discussed with my colleague, the Federal Minister of Agriculture and Food Security, to know how to bring down the cost of grains. The second issue is that issue of vaccines and vaccinations, which again, like I mentioned earlier, our NVRI is in a proper position to supply, very soon they'll be in a proper position to supply all the vaccine requirements. In terms of assistance, yes, if you come with a business plan, the ministry doesn't have funds to dispense to private people. This is a government outfit. What do? We assist in the modernization and transformation of the livestock industry.
Minister, sir, what strategies are you implementing to improve the marketing and storage of livestock products, reducing losses and increasing the income of livestock farmers and producers?
Yeah, thank you. Post-harvest losses are quite significant today in the country, particularly when you look at the agricultural products, talking about perishables. But for us in the livestock sector, if you're talking about losses, they come at 2 levels. Okay, let me say 3 levels. Number 1 is milk losses, dairy losses, because milk has a very, very short shelf life. What are we doing about it? We are working with a World Bank outfit under the ministry called LPRESS to build a lot of infrastructural facilities in terms of cold chain storage across major dairy producing communities. We are also encouraging processors to set up near production basins. For instance, if you have an area where you have a cluster of herders or milk producers, it's better go and set up near them rather than start evacuating over a long period because of infrastructural challenges in the rural areas. So that's what we are doing. And LPRESS have been doing wonderfully well in that direction. The second aspect of avoiding post-harvest losses, we're talking about red meat, for instance. If you process red meat, whether it's an open manual slaughterhouse, slaughter slab, or you have a modern abattoir with cranes and everything, you require cold chain storage, packaging, and transportation. And today we are working with the red meat operators. Today we have inventorized almost about 20 modern abattoirs across the country, and many more are coming up. But we have advised all those building abattoirs today to incorporate cold chain storage. So that way you store the products, your beef, your carcass there, it can remain there until you are able to market it. And aside from that, we are also encouraging, rather than trading in live animals from the north to the south, it's been happening from time immemorial. We are advising today, and we do believe that there is a huge value in processing meat from one area and transporting the meat to the areas where it is being marketed, where it's being consumed. So we are working on all the 3 ends to ensure that, number 1, we develop the red meat industry with good hygiene, international practices, certified. These animals are slaughtered here, and you gain from all the other byproducts: the blood, the feces, the bones, the marrow, the horn, the hoofs, the skin. All of them are value. Then you process it, package it, and take it to the supermarkets and other off-takers at the market basin. So this is what we are looking at.
What strategies or measures is your ministry putting in place, especially in Enugu, to support the small-scale livestock farmers to improve their produce?
We have identified 10 pillars to achieve this. We're looking at feed and fodder, we are looking at genetics, we are looking at animal health, we are looking at creating of those value chains, we are also looking at waste and water management, all across the board. This is what we are looking at. So that is what transformation is all about, to leapfrog this sector from where we are today. We have just crafted our own livestock, national livestock growth acceleration strategy. We are on a trajectory today. In the next 5 years, we want to grow this sector to to $74 billion. And every state, from Borno to Calabar, from Abuja to Sokoto, is a shared prosperity. Every aspect of this Nigeria, there's livestock. Nobody will feel marginalized. We are talking about the honeybee, we are talking about the pig, we are talking about the rabbit, we are talking about the goat, we are talking about the sheep, we are talking about the cattle, we are talking about the donkey, we are talking about the horse, we are talking about the camel. Whoever you are in this country, invariably in 24 hours, you will come in contact with one or more of these species.
My name is Tobenna Obe. I am a farmer based in Enugu, a livestock farmer based in Enugu. So, Honorable Minister, I would like to know, in the reforms that you're bringing on, the young ministry is bringing on, have you included robust, realistic agri-insurance policies for livestock farmers? If so, were farmers engaged in crafting those policies?
Obi, the one name. Emela, thank you for that question. About insurance, we are taking some lessons from East Africa. Livestock insurance in the country has not been happening because of certain considerations. You've had a lot of animal rustling, a lot of disease outbreak, so many things have been happening, and that probably have been pushing people away. But we have contacted IRI, International Livestock Research Institute in Nairobi. We are talking along with them. There are elements, a lot of it's happening today in East Africa. We want to learn some lessons from there, and we are going to tweak it to fit our environment. Not to say that we are not listening to Nigerian Agriculture Insurance Corporation. We are talking with them. We are also trying to come up with policies, with products to cover the livestock sector. So we are doing that. Just like you can insure your crops, you can also insure your livestock. But just note that for livestock, there are far less hazards than when it comes to open agriculture. So we are talking with NAIC, and we believe that we come out with products that can satisfy both the farmers, the animal keepers, and the insurance providers. So that is something that is ongoing. It is new, but we believe it can happen because it's happening elsewhere. In South Africa, in Namibia, in Botswana, in Kenya, which I've visited. I've spoken to the MD of Kenyan National Dairy Board. We've spoken to all of them, and we are taking lessons from there. We are not going to reinvent the wheel. But the thing here is that whatever is happening, they will say, how does it fit in our Nigerian situation? We are starting anew. Both the insurance, the guy insuring, the brokers, and the guy who is paying the premium, whatever it is, must be satisfied. And all of us will have to sit down in a round table and have discussions to agree on the way forward.
Another revelation and windows of opportunities being opened as progress all round as the livestock sector strives to rise up and meet best practices to compete in this African and global markets, with 417 gazetted ranches up for stocking, equipping of provisions of infrastructure, reinvigorating animal quarantine services at the borders, enhancing cold chain and abattoir facilities, as well as vaccination program. Name them. We, as Nigerians, are surely getting there in terms of livestock development. Reshaping Democracy proudly identifies with the Young Livestock Ministry. I'm Ayodeji Makinde. We'll be back again, same time next week. Bye-bye.